Over the weekend, the Auckland University of Technology, for some strange reason they gave it university status, but there you go, conducted its annual trust survey in terms of the New Zealand news media. This has been going now for, oh God, I think about 2018, 2017. A survey each year undertaken in which they interview a variety of people, I guess a sample size of about 1,000, usual sort of opinion poll. And they test whether or not we trust the media in this country. Now, along with most other Western nations, New Zealanders have had a declining amount of respect and trust for their media, their mainstream media in this country. But over COVID, it became particularly bad. And New Zealand's trust in the media became so significant. As a result, it was largely seen of the media becoming a propaganda outlet for the government. That trust and I guess the reputation and the integrity of the media suffered significantly, and that has had some really major effects upon New Zealand society and something called social cohesion. If we don't trust the news tellers to tell us the truth, then from where do we get our news that we trust? And increasingly that would be from anywhere but the mainstream media. Well, over the weekend, the AUT Trust Survey was published, and it showed that there's been a slight improvement overall after years of what they call steep decline of New Zealanders in the mainstream media. When I say a slight improvement, I mean slight. I mean probably within polling, probably within polling variability, to be honest with you. But the amazing thing, and it is the amazing thing, is that most of us still don't trust the media. If a majority of New Zealanders still do not trust the media to give us the full truth or even the truth on a regular basis. And that is worse in New Zealand than in a number of OECD countries that run the same trust survey. So AUT haven't come up with anything particularly innovative. They've simply mirrored and aped surveys that have been conducted in other countries. I'm sure they picked it up originally from those international precedents. The most remarkable thing, though, was that they also measured individual outlets. And my local newspaper, the Otago Daily Times, for example, has proudly proclaimed on its front page that it is the most trusted newspaper in New Zealand, which I've got to be honest with you, is not much of a barrier. So it'd be almost like, if I could make a comparison, suggesting that a certain Pakistani cricket umpire, for example, was more trusted than his fellows. It's not a high bar that you're seeking to measure. All right, well, similarly, you might argue that other media have at least not made themselves worse, but the one that was the most trusted, I have to say, of all of those and surpassed this year the Otago Daily Times was, wait for it, Radio New Zealand News. Radio New Zealand News is the most trusted, I repeat, according to the AUT survey, the most trusted news media outlet in New Zealand, which automatically leads me to say, dear God, if Radio New Zealand News is the most trusted media outlet in this country, holy crap, things must really be bad. Given that Radio New Zealand News is a byword for woke and left liberal reporting and heralds nor holds any conservative voices at all, despite being 100% funded by the public and the taxpayer. This morning we talked about Section 75 of the Public Service Act that Winston Peters wants to strike out, which obliges chief executives of all government departments and interdepartmental ventures, including Radio New Zealand, to be guided, quote, by the principle that the group comprising all employees should reflect the makeup of society. And I was thinking to myself, I'd like that to go until I look at the media, and particularly Television New Zealand News and Radio New Zealand News, and say, actually, I quite like the public service employees at Radio New Zealand News and TVNZ to reflect the makeup of society, because what's completely missing is any conservative voice in those particular institutions. And really, basically, white males seem to have, certainly white conservative males of a middle-class background seem to be conspicuous by their absence as well. I'd also have to say, just on that, I'd really like the Ministry of Education and the education sector in particular, our primary schools and our secondary schools, but our primary schools and early childhood, to similarly reflect the makeup of society, because men are conspicuously absent from those particular professions and departments as well. So I guess when DEI is interpreted, it means diversity, equity, and inclusiveness for everybody except white people, except conservative people, and except men. And if you are in any of those categories, DEI does not apply. Certainly applies to the media, and apparently, although we still don't trust the media and are the most our New Zealand media are the most untrustworthy of most in the Western world, we have not apparently decided to get any worse. We've just switched off completely in terms of our view as to whether or not the media and the news that they give us is accurate, has integrity, and is trustworthy. Anyhow, can I give you an example though? If out of the average scores, so out of moving from 0, you don't trust these people at all, in fact, this is demon and devil spawn, to number 10, these people are talking my language, I can trust them completely, any information they give me I can make serious decisions by. So that's 0 on one hand and 10 on the other. New Zealand's media outlets roughly got to 5.96. That's the top ones. Radio New Zealand got to 6 out of 10. And the Otago Daily Times got to 5.9. They will herald today these results. Can I say that if you look at the average trust score in this country, compare it to international media, then 5 or 6 out of 10 would not be considered to be something that I would be proud of. And I would be asking myself the question, why do so many people distrust me? But I guess the media won't be this morning. They're doing exactly the opposite. Why don't we trust the media in this country? Well, I would suggest to you, because we've had experience. And we've had, in many cases, a personal experience of their bias, of their lack of partiality, their inordinate inaccuracy, but mostly their desire for sensationalism and their desire for hyperbole and excitement over the simple relay of the facts. And this latest AUD Trust and News survey would seem to confirm all of that. Those are my thoughts this morning. What are yours?